Aloha Kohala. You are listening to KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala. It's 3 o'clock on February 8th, 2023. And we're going to have some intuitive talk story with Eila Algood and
Michál, Anna.
Yeah, and we have somebody sitting in with us today.
We do.
Yes.
We have a dear sister, friend, superfood business partner, amazing woman, Armida Huerta from Mancos, Colorado. Well, not originally, but from via Mancos, lives there, breathes there, and is with us on the Big Island for this week. Just
nice.
a kind of, spirit-led journey. So we're excited to have her. She's actually called into our show before.
From Colorado.
Yeah.
Your name sounded familiar to me. So here we are, and there's a lot of wind blowing, a lot of stuff around, and I was listening to the show before, and I felt like they were warming up the airwaves for us and how they were talking and what they were talking about.
I didn't catch what they were speaking about.
Oh, well, just kind of honoring yourself and the importance of taking care of yourself and on all levels. So anyway, let's dive in. What's alive in you today, dear?
Well, the unknown, and so popping in like a guest, that's an unknown. Like, hey, we got a guest, and saying like out there, Eila and I were saying today, like, this is a great thing if you ever have a desire to come sit in, you live nearby, or you're in town, and you'd like to drop in and sit with us while we have a conversation. We're happy to have you. So it's a joy to have a guest with us today and talk about the unknown. And, what's been coming up this week for me in client sessions with everyone I've spoken to this week is a lot of, I'm not sure what the next step is. I'm really going with, I don't really know. I feel like I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know what's happening. A lot of people seem to be in that place. Mm-hmm. And what I'd like to say is let's celebrate being in the unknown.
Yeah.
Let's celebrate that feeling because spirit lives in the unknown. The field of potentiality is this field of the unknown. Things we try to plan for the future. It's great to have a plan. It's great to set intentions. But as I said before, be unattached to what comes forward. It's not like I need to have a blue Nissan Sentra or whatever that is. I be flexible, allow space. So spirit really lives in the moment of us allowing. And so the celebration of the unknown and kind of what's alive for you, and I even speak of that, what comes up for you in that?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. So I was here at noon engineering Tutu's talk story for Holly, and she had a guest on who was talking about that exactly. Kashi, who is the person in charge. She was doing Shiva Shiva Bakery. Anyway, she's a vegan Hindu person, and she was talking about how she has not made plans through her adult years, and things would manifest, and the next thing would show up, what she was going to do next, and she didn't think that was what she was going to do next, but that became, and now she's running the Aloha Boutique Hotel, offering vegan food over here in town. So, and I was also listening to some audio podcast talking about how, and it's all the stuff we hear all the time, but sometimes somebody says it a little bit differently and it has more impact. And this person was talking about how when people go to psychotherapy, they're really rehashing the past. So are you in the present if you're rehashing the past? No, you're dragging that into the moment. And the same thing with the planning, the over-planning. If we keep thinking about, well, what's going to happen next week? Where's the economy going? What's going to happen over there? Or what's going to happen over here? We're not here. We're not present with what we have right now and creating these beautiful possibilities right here. We're kind of off there or off in the past, right? So, yeah.
Oh, gosh, did you bring up so many cool things. Okay, so I'm like, where's the paper? I need to
You want a piece of paper?
Yeah, I'd love a piece.
There, go ahead.
Awesome.
I just need it back.
Okay, so first off, you brought up the sister that was talking earlier. Awesome. I do actually know her. I briefly was a facilitator for one of the workshops that happened at that place.
Yes.
And I had, I don't know much about it, but
Yeah.
I did do a couple things there. That was fun. So blessings to everyone in sharing more love, light, and grace on the planet and doing their mission and following their path. And that's kind of, and in fact, that's how Armida is here. Because we are, in fact, that's how we even met. We met in Mancos. I'll tell our story as part of a
Go ahead.
So I didn't even really want to go to Colorado last year, but Spirit made me go for a number of reasons, and I felt led and drawn to go. So I went, and my sweetheart and I were in Mancos, small place, and our dear friends live there who are here now visiting as well, actually. And they have friends here in Kapa'au. So we were there because of them, but met Armida through my friend, our other friend, Julie. And so we all met and just like instant spirit connection, instant like, oh my gosh, your sister from way long ago. We're supposed to connect and do this work. We've since, she's been deepening with us this whole time, listening to our work and our shows and using my tools and deepening into the spirit work and the superfoods. And it has been...
Yeah.
I won't say too much about it for her. She can, if she'd like to share anything, she could. But it's been really magnificent. So Spirit really told me, she literally hit a big, she got a big, what's the word? You hit something like a
glass.
Goal.
Goal.
Hit a goal, woo, good job,
yeah.
kind of thing. And Spirit's she's got to come to Hawaii. I'm like, you got to come, girl. You got to come and spend a week. And it just all worked out.
Yeah.
That it just was the perfect. She could make it happen. It all worked.
Yeah.
Boom. Here she is. And she got off the plane. May I share that? Absolutely. And she felt the energy in getting off the plane. Went, oh my gosh, I'm home. I feel home. And I feel that I'm on a spirit mission. I'm on mission. I'm being brought here to some activations happening. Stuff's going down.
I would love to hear you say that. There's because it's a you can go right here.
Oh, here, you get your own mic.
Yeah. You can have. It doesn't have a thing, but yeah, go ahead. Say hi and your name.
Hello, my name is Armida. I live in Mancos, Colorado, from San Francisco Bay Area.
So what happened for you when you got off the plane? You say it in your words.
So I was getting off the plane, and as soon as I hit the air hit me. It was almost like an embrace of love going into my lungs. And I was a little thrown off because I didn't expect that, because I've never been to this place in this physical experience. And then it felt like I was enveloped, almost like I was underwater, being taken in and just loved up. And the thought that came to me was, I'm returning home, but it didn't make sense to me, so I didn't really latch onto that. I just kind of let it go. But in talking to Michál, I just realized, yeah, that's what happened. I feel like I'm home. Yeah.
Well, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank
you. I got lots of these, lots of the bumps.
Lots of the goosebumps.
Yeah.
And that our other people are here at the same time. There's magic everywhere if we're just listening, and little things then start to unfold, right? And so she just got here yesterday, so but that's a story of listening, know. And for me, really, it's how I came to Hawaii. And in the very beginning, I don't know if I've ever told my story on air. Coming to Hawaii was like that for me. I was 23 years old. I was traveling around. I'd been living in Mexico for a little bit. I'm originally from Denver, Colorado. Grew up there. Went to school in Seattle, Washington. Was traveling, moving around, and I kept wherever I went. They're like, "Are you from Hawaii?" I'm like,
"Oh,
no."
wow.
"Are you from Hawaii?" No. It happened a lot
Wow.
while I was traveling.
Yeah.
Finally, Spirit, am I supposed to go to Hawaii? Is that what's supposed to happen? And I run into my friend that I lived in this big house in college with, 12 people. My friend Taylor, and he says, "Oh, hey, I just got back from Hawaii, from the Big Island, and our friend Taylor's living there. You ought to go visit him." I went, "Okay." What happened? I thought, "Oh my God, I guess I'm supposed to go." I'm going. So I'm going to Hawaii. So it was a really literal, I picked literally the massage school that was just in the phone book. It happened to be near where I was.
Yeah.
Everything became very cosmic from then on out, even more so. Coming to Hawaii was cosmic. in and of itself, and meditation on the other side of the island. I was told to come here, go to Javi. Called up my massage friend, had him, I need to go to Javi. You have a friend there, let's go. We came here. I was introduced to Robin Felix. Some of you may remember Robin if you're listening. And we had lunch or dinner that day, and she said, so do you want to open up a burrito bar? And I said, yeah, that's what I'm doing here. And literally, I'm not joking, 5 months later, we opened a Mexican restaurant in this town in the year 2000.
Wow. Yeah.
Ooh La La's Burrito Bar, if you remember that place.
And it's all about listening.
Yes.
I mean, it really is.
I didn't know. I had no intention of opening a Mexican restaurant. Not at all on the plan. Not what but Spirit's like, yep, that's what you're doing. Okay, that's what I'm doing. Great.
So I had a trip to Arizona booked for right now. That's where I was going to be. And Holly and I had booked it. We had everything planned, and it was going to be fabulous. And one thing after another came up, and I was like, you know what? I don't think this is what we're meant to do right now. And so we dropped it. And once we dropped it, and once I canceled, I was kind of relieved. And that's how I know that was definitely the decision to make. And then as I sit here, I'm like, I wouldn't have been sitting here with you two right now. You know, I don't think of it that often, but maybe once a day I'll think, I wouldn't have had that experience had I been there. Now I don't know what I would have experienced there, but this is pretty awesome. And I'm glad I'm here to be here now. So I think anytime we can listen, even though we have a plan, even though we think we know what we're supposed to do, God, if we can just release it and then listen a little bit deeper, we can. Yeah, I just feel like that's where the magic is.
So I had a story happen that was so magical. And it just filled me up so much.
We have a lot of enthusiasm today.
Well, it's been a really amazing week. I've had so many amazing things have been happening in work and the client work and lifting. It's just brilliant. I'm just grateful. And I was teaching salsa last week, and I was hungry, so I went to go get some food at this little vegan place down the road on Ali'i. And anyway, a number of things happened there with this drink that I wasn't supposed to have. But anyway, so I walk out. Oops, see? Look at that. Throwing things around. I walk out of the shop, and I have a little flatbread pizza, avocado pizza thing in a box. And a mom is there with her child and a few other, another couple kids and another adult. And she asks about the flatbread pizza. Is there a pizza place around the corner? Yeah, there's just right around the corner. I noticed the 9-year-old with her around that age is crying. And I just feel like, and this happens, and you might relate, I call this Uber angel. When you just happen to be nearby, it's whoever's closest. Yeah. And I just feel him, and I'm like, what's wrong, honey? And he just, my grandparents are so mean to me, and everybody's being mean to me. And just a flood of all the right things come out of my mouth that he needs to hear in that moment. And I said, can I give you a hug? And as I'm saying it, he's walking towards me saying, yeah, that's what I need. I need a hug. And I just hold him and hug this child for 3 to 4 minutes.
Wow.
Just holding him and telling him Spirit, just I feel God's voice just coming through me, giving him what he needs to hear in that moment. Don't take it personal, and you're so infinitely loved, and you're so precious, and you just don't take any of that into your heart. They're just hurting from their own life. They've had hard lives, and you're just sensitive and don't take that pain into your heart, honey. It was just so beautiful. Yeah. And he is just crying, just so grateful. It was so beautiful. He's like, you're the nicest person I've met. It was just the sweetest moment. His mother's crying. The other people are standing. I just noticed them. They're actually there. I didn't notice them originally. Yeah. I noticed they're now there. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I actually dropped this drink that I wasn't supposed to have, fell off my cardboard box. And they're like, oh, do you want me to buy a new one? I'm like, no, just bless you and thank you. And you guys, they were leaving the next day. It was and go forth and be happy and bless you. And I just walked away just feeling so grateful to be a vessel of God's love in that moment for that child. I don't know his name, but it was profound.
Well, and it doesn't matter his name.
And I had things to do. I had people to see, places to go.
Right. It's just a moment in time, though, that you take the time. You take the time and you don't think about the other stuff. You just stay present with that moment. That's pretty special. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
The unknown.
The unknown.
So
Yeah.
it's making room for that magic, right? Making room for magic to pop up along the way. When you feel led, I should really stop at that store real quick. There might be a reason.
Speaking
you might
of that,
being called on an Uber Angel mission. You may be that. So, there's a lot of Uber Angels out there. We're all Uber Angels if we want to be.
We are. Somebody came into my store the other day. I was just about to close. End of the day, tired. But I had asked for certain things from Spirit, and this person came in, and she was kind of what I was asking for. She was just in this place where she was thinking maybe it's time to leave Hawaii. She'd been here 5 years, kind of isolated with her animals and her husband, and not connecting with people on this level that we're talking about, this deeper level. I'm like, well, you're in the woo-woo shop now, so you can share whatever you want here. And we start talking, and she was in there a good half an hour, and really, I could feel the relief in her to connect with somebody about spirit, about energy, about things that she just didn't share with anybody else, except maybe her horses, and they weren't responding a whole lot verbally. So, those moments are really magical to me.
Mm-hmm. Moments of connection. So you bring up a good point, which is many people are really lacking in authentic connection. Mm-hmm. The moments where they're really connecting soul to soul. Now, this brings us into a deeper topic of embracing the unknown. Because in order for us to be in charge of our vessel, like we're talking about all the time, that means the soul is in charge. It means I am here at all times being present. I am the one talking to you. If I am present and you are also in the I am present, now we are having authentic connection.
Right.
Right? So the problem here is that most people aren't really sitting in the I am present because we are navigating programming, wounding, and shielding, where my defense programs are navigating. So often we're talking, either two programs are having a conversation.
Yes. Program to program.
Right.
That's not very deep.
Right.
No,
we're
not
just,
authentic.
I also did that. Well, then I did that. Well, then I also did that. I know this. Well, I know this. I mean, whatever that is.
Right.
So part of this peeling away and getting into the unknown and feel the potentiality means we got to let go of what we think we know. Mm-hmm. You just get real curious. And so dropping the programs, that's a whole other show, which we have many of. So check them out because we have a lot of shows on deprogramming. Mm-hmm. So deprogramming and doing the inner child work is critical to owning the vessel for sure.
Well, and to know when you're in your vessel and when you're in that just mouthing words or saying something that your father used to say, or not being in that authentic place. And that's like a nuanced thing that the more you practice it, the more you become aware of it, the more you can say, oh no, I'm not in it right now and I want to be.
Right, the stalking the mind practice.
Yeah.
And the peeling away of the deprogramming, and I call that the picking up your pearls, right? Sweeping your memories. That whole process is part of that whole piece. Then the other piece we get into is letting go of our beliefs, right, that come along with some of that programming emotionally, but letting go of what we think is true, what we've been told by many things, our society, our schools, our jobs, family.
Yeah.
Where we are told so many things from so many different areas that's a real big peeling away. This whole I don't know. To come in to say, I don't know.
Be more
I don't
curious.
know. To be curious, I really don't know. And to not feel that you need to know. So it's one thing to not know and go, I don't know. But I should know. I really should have done blah, blah. Now, that's a whole other thing. That's what a lot of people are doing. I should know what I'm supposed to do. I should be in charge of myself. I should be clear on what's wrong with me. Nothing. You don't know because, things are shifting. And right now is this whirlwind of time. Like you said, everything's flying everywhere. The wind is blowing. Woo! Because a lot of people are spiraling up right now. Oh, we're all spiraling up.
Yes.
Our DNA is upgrading. Our energies are changing. We're changing on a cellular level. Wherever you're at in that river or this journey of evolution or ascension, we are all being changed to the next place up. Wherever you are, you're just going up a rung, so to speak. And we're depending on your awareness of that and what your experience
and what
might
you came
be of
into
that.
this lifetime to learn and do,
Yeah,
and
right, your whole
what your
story.
Your whole story, all the way back.
Way back there, which is just about you, right? Because that's personal to just one. My story is totally different. We're each one facet of God, the
Yes.
infinite, which is why it's so critical that if I'm just the only facet, like we're all one little fractal of the infinite piece, but I'm a hologram of the whole, you're a hologram of the whole.
Yeah.
So it's critical that each of us embody the creative passion that is my fractal and allow the mission of the infinite to fuel my creative passion, that which is God-given, I am that I am, this one piece of the infinite.
Well, and your life, I mean, it informs your life. It informs where you are and where you're going and what you're doing and who you're doing it with and how you speak, and it's everything. It's not just one, it's not compartmentalized into one thing. It's all of those things.
And so how does that show up? What does that mean even? Like, what's all those things? What's that? So to me, that looks like surrender. Surrender, and I've talked about this, but not of my will, but of the will of the infinite, the will of unity, the will of the one, the will of God, however you frame that for yourself in your language that works for you, in that I am in service to more than myself. So the little little Michál, she just wants to stay in bed. I just want to curl up and go nowhere. Sometimes you want to do that, right? But you go, no, cowgirl up. I have to be there, show up, give thanks, just show up, right? Sometimes that's the call. You just get out of bed and show up, right? So if we think of it that way, it's just show up to whatever is going to be in your movie, to peel away whatever you don't need, so you can stand and end and experience that infinite serenity, which is our surrender to not of my will, but of divine will. I don't really know. I'm willing to ask. I'm willing to go, I don't know. Let me be curious. This phrase a lot that's been popular the last couple of years. Who's the source?
Yeah. Yeah. Of everything.
I am the source.
Yeah.
I am sharing it with you, Eila.
Yeah.
And I'm the source of that information. It's what I want to share with you.
Right.
And
It's a
I
truth
believe
that
it's
you
resonating
have,
for
right.
me.
Yeah.
If I'm not enough for you right now, that's your problem. Right.
Well, it's
or
not
that it's your problem, but that that's not me. Like,
yeah,
I can only share what I'm
right, but
sharing.
some people live in a reality where they want to know the source. They want to know what magazine you read that
but this
from.
is what I'm trying to get to. Is
Yes.
that we're pulling away that's still an outside source.
Absolutely.
Which means, why is Joe Blow's opinion somehow weighted more than your own or more than Susie
Well, it's not
Q's?
even an opinion. Like this article is based on alleged facts, but my intuition is much more important to me than that article that's based on alleged facts.
But even
it's not
then,
that that's
alleged
right or
facts.
wrong. It's just that my intuition is more important than anything else when I'm making decisions.
Right. So that's the point, is that the source is yourself.
Yes.
Is in alignment with you. So when asked who's the source, well, I'm getting in alignment with, you're getting in alignment with your own source. And if that's not enough, if this information feels resonant for me,
Right.
and I'm wanting to share it with you because of that resonance. If someone needs more than that, that gets into like, why is that person then have, like,
Right.
we placed weight into things that don't make sense.
Well, that's part of the programming, don't you
Right.
think? We've
Totally.
been programmed to listen to Harvard over Michál because Harvard
Correct. That's what we're pointing out
is
right
very intellectual.
now. Exactly.
Yes.
So
And
we're
not
bringing
that
that to
not
the
that
light.
you're not intellectual, but you're much more complex than that.
Well, there's a whole
source.
system of the paper, and I do have a stack of papers, but there, but there's the paper trail viewpoint, and then
Yeah.
there's many different viewpoints, and so the point here is to draw into releasing all those beliefs, whatever they might be in whatever world you particularly live in, because each person is dealing with their own set of belief systems. But to question them and to be willing to dismantle them, whatever you think might have been that which is the end all, and be willing to ask the question, well, is it? Maybe not. Maybe it's not. I don't know.
Right.
It's okay. And it's, maybe none of that's real.
Yeah.
To ask that question, to even put on the thinking cap that, well, let's just say none of that's even real. None of that exists. Well, then what? What does that look like? To be willing to do that alone means you're willing to not take yourself seriously enough. You're willing to put a concept on the table and to become an observer. So in order for us to really move into a field of potentiality, we have to become the observer. I become the compassionate observer of that which is happening. So I have to take an outside view and look conceptually and not be taking something personal, like we've talked about a lot, taking something personal. I have to instead be, well, let's just talk about it as something else and let me look at it from out here and even see what little me is experiencing. Oh, she's in that room.
Well, that's just what I had happen today with something, with a situation where at first I was like, oh, how does that feel for me? And then I was like, well, what's the bigger picture here? And then we talked about what could be the bigger picture here. It didn't negate how I felt. It honored it, and then it went beyond it. It's like, okay, I have my emotional reaction to something, but what is this here to show me? And I find if I can go there and question, what is this here to show me, then something, oh, wow, I hadn't considered that. Yeah, and I get all those little bumpies.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I was having the conversation yesterday with a client around, there's just nobody out there, which we've had a lot.
Yeah.
But there's nobody out there. Everything that's coming in your field, that guy that keeps frustrating you, that thing that keeps happening, the angry person, the silly whatever person, the thing that keeps going on. You're like, well, if only they'd stop. Yeah, that's you. Yeah, that's you too.
Yeah,
yeah, that one's you also. So it's overwhelmingly you. So when we go back to I am vibrationally resonating with that which I am. So these things are popping into my field to show me, hi, still got you. This is something you still got. Use the mirror. Use the mirror. If you use the mirror and you get it quick, you don't have to keep playing out that reality. If you don't, well, it just keeps on coming back.
It keeps coming back, yeah. And then we make it about another person, that their
keep on
behavior doesn't change because we want them to change. But actually, if we change our reaction and own our part in it, it will change their behavior.
It will change.
Or
they
just won't be there or whatever.
The energy will change, period.
Yes.
Something will happen. It will become different.
Yes.
It will. You will never sit in you're not a victim.
Right.
Ever of your reality. So you're right. I'm in charge. This is my reality. I'm learning what I'm learning right now. And I know I'm going to have peace, abundance, love, prosperity because I'm infinitely loved and cared for. And I'm worthy of unconditional love, joy, and happiness. See, right? That's your foundation. So whatever I'm experiencing right now, if that's my foundation, whatever I'm experiencing right now is just a test or something that I got to get through. So I can really own that beautiful love, joy, and experience. So I'm willing to go through, well, this is it's temporary because there's something on the other side. See, and a lot of what stops people is they don't want to go through the really dirty, mucky mud part. They're like, ooh, that looks nasty. Maybe I'll just stay over here. This is fine. And it's like, no, there's actually really cool stuff on the other side of the mud. So you just got to get through the mud. It's really not that deep. Sometimes you feel like you're going to get encased but then you're like, no, I got it.
It's not quicksand. It's just mud.
I got it. It's just mud. I can do it. Sometimes it's like molasses, but you will get there if let your love be greater than your fear. Let your hunger to experience love, to be home in the peace of the infinite, that hunger, let it propel you forward always.
And let's take a station break. We'll be right back.
Are you interested in summer conservation and spend your summer making a difference in Hawaii? For young adults looking to make positive change in the environment and explore Hawaii this summer, Kupu encourages those 17 and up to join their Hawaii Youth Conservation Corps summer program. It's a paid, team-based program to help build their resume, earn money for college, and build connections. Teams are hosted on Hawaii Island, Kauai, Oahu, Maui, and Molokai. To apply, go to Kupu's website at www.kupuhawaii.org. That's www.kupuhawaii.org. Deadline is February 17th.
The new Community Farmers Market will be held at Kamehameha Park on the first and third Saturdays of every month, from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Vendors from our local community have fresh veggies, prepared foods, jams and jellies, lumpia, boiled peanuts, Chinese pretzels, banana breads, ulu chips, and local crafts. New vendors are always welcome. If you have any questions, call Faye at 808-225-3666. That's 255-3666. Or Lana at 238-4854. Mahalo nui.
Great Goddess, I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me. I am so thankful to have you.
Aloha kohala. This is Eila Algood of Women's Voices. Change is in the air. Women's Voices will now be once a week, every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. I hope you can tune in to KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala and listen to sensational songs by female artists from right here in Kohala and around the world.
Protecting me, I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me, I am.
Aloha and welcome back to Intuitive Talk Story with Eila Algood and
Michál, Anna.
yeah, we're on fire today. It is 3:32, February 8th, 2023. You're listening to KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala. And so next stop is letting go.
Oh, yes, because if we're going to go into the unknown, we have to let go. We can't get to the unknown if we're not willing to let go of what we previously have known. This year may be an especially fun year for that. So plant the seed now. Get ready to let go of what you thought you knew and give thanks and praise and be curious and get excited about forming a whole new opinion about a whole lot of things and building the new earth with systems that work and that are in the cycle of life and are producing life-giving solutions for health, wellness, and everyday living.
Well, that sounds pretty all-encompassing.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of energy this year for new systems, which means we have to let go of the old ones.
Yes,
right?
and it's only when you let go that you can. We talk also a lot about manifestation. That came up for me today, and in order to create more things in your life or more experiences or different experiences, we need to let go of maybe the comfortable thing, maybe the familiar thing, just long enough so that we can see maybe we keep going with that comfortable thing, but you got to let go of it first to see, well, am I going to keep doing that? Or no, I think you open the space for something new to happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm on the path that I would call the path of neutrality, right? It's the path of getting to zero with all things, coming into the unity, coming into oneness.
You mean without the duality?
The duality, in my understanding, exists within the oneness.
Mm-hmm.
It is inside of the oneness. There is only one thing. So in that one thing, then no thing, one thing, everything, all thing is nothing. In that we are moving into wholeness by picking up all these pieces of ourselves, and we can manifest whatever it is we would like or choose by owning this vessel, by clearing out what does not serve us, but not giving our power away to anything else, and allowing that intelligent source to move through us. My mom asked me the other day, like, what is God? Like, what's your definition of God? So, an intelligent life, the life-giving source of intelligence, consciousness, the infinite stream of living intelligence, which is like a crystal field of love that flows through every single thing. It is life force itself. It is the essence of life, and each of us has access, like it's like a seed, like a crystal seed that sits in every single one of us, and it can be ignited to be activated within the self to run that crystal light, like connecting to the infinite source of all things. So the little I is that Michál I was speaking of, who's like sometimes just with, I just want to stay in bed. But no, the greater I, not of myself, but of divine will, a cowgirl up and go do what I'm feeling called forth to do, being led. And so that gets back to the source. Who's the source? Well, if we're letting go and we're surrendering, not of my divine will, we're moving into that framework, then source is ever present. That intelligence, that consciousness is ever available for us to move into. We can reach into it at any time. I don't have to really know anything. I can be led to know. And if my high heart is leading me, then this thing becomes the body, the brain. All this is a processor. This is intelligent, awesome tech, this amazing thing of DNA and cells and brain. It works for me. It works for me, and it's led by the high heart, and that thing gets led so that it's just cataloging that library of information that, of all the things I've learned through as a soul, just picking up those. I'm maybe reaching in, and it comes out, so it comes out through my lens, and your information comes out through the same info. We give different lenses. We do that all the time.
Yes.
From our library, but
Yeah.
we're accessing from intelligent source. We're
Right.
having that intuitive talk story because we're going into that field, and we're accessing infinite oneness where both you and I exist.
And I think that's
completely.
where we connect.
Exactly.
That's what we're connecting on. We're not connecting on the life you had or the life I had.
Right.
We're connecting about the divinity, whatever you want to call it,
The
God,
infinite
divine,
God,
whatever. As you were talking, I was thinking, there used to be this thing. I remember doing vision boards in the past. And I feel like part of what we're coming into now is letting go of the vision boards. And even in terms of manifesting, it's manifesting concept ideas more than manifesting a new car. It's kind of like, in order to manifest, you have to allow and let go, which is almost, it feels almost opposite one another, but they're not.
So this is really cool. This segues
You're getting excited.
I am. This segues into the brain. So the
Yeah.
brain perceives like you have a past, and your past self is navigating yourself all the time. So if you just think the same thoughts you've always thought, you're going to get the same results again and again and again. So in order to move from that reality which you've had, you have to actually try on the reality of what you're wanting. So you have to see yourself, feel yourself in the car. Like, instead of thinking I need a new car, you're feeling yourself in the freedom of that car. Like, I can feel the wind in my hair. Oh, God, it feels so good to be free and to be able to go wherever I want and do whatever I
Yeah.
want. That's really what I'm reaching into, is a feeling of freedom,
Yes.
of expansiveness. I have endless possibility. And so I see myself, I experience myself in the energy of having the vehicle, being in it, feeling it, breathing into it. I am living it in my mind. And as you live it in your mind, this is why we do energetic tools, energy management. You are actually managing your energy. You are using your brain. You are creating and living and training the brain, because the brain doesn't perceive the past as something different from the future. So now when you're reaching into your reality, you are creating the future that you want to have, because you have been experiencing it, and then the brain then therefore helps you project that reality into your existence. So
Right.
we need to shift the brain's possibility and concepts and perceptions in order for us to move into holding that pattern, because we also get into addictive patterns with our brain, and our brain wants to move us somewhere else.
Right. And also we get attached to certain ideas, like the sense of freedom, the only way I'm going to feel free is if I get this Maserati, like I have a very narrow focus on that. And that doesn't really allow for the magic of the universe to happen if I'm so focused on that one thing. If I'm more focused on the freedom that I want to create and the feeling I want to have
Correct.
as I move through my life, then maybe there's something, maybe somebody brings me one of those little planes that you can fly from your driveway. Like, I wouldn't have thought of that if I was so focused on the Maserati. But here I am.
I
just
like
looking for
your
the freedom.
imaginings. You're going with a Maserati or a plane that you can drive from your driveway.
Go
I
big
like
or
where
go
you're
home,
going
honey.
with this, girl. I like it. So exactly, it's whatever you want. But
It's what came into my head.
I
I've
love
never
it.
driven a Maserati.
Well, that sounds fun. But yeah, exactly. Go big, because you're worth it. You're worth
Yeah.
it. That's right now. Everybody, wherever you are, I am worthy,
Yeah.
and I am worthy of unconditional love, and I love unconditionally. Say it loud. Say it free. Own that. We are all worthy of having infinite grace, abundance, joy, love, prosperity, health. That is your natural state of being and the philosophy I follow, which I just shared, is unity. It's our divine birthright, is to be in wholeness, to be in a state of well-being. So anytime you're not in a state of well-being, you are activating programming, other energies, plugging into something. There's something else at play, which is an opportunity to use those mirrors, like I talk about, use the mirrors, find your pearls, sweep your memories, connect with your inner child, find what's happening here and get your pieces so you aren't triggering to all sorts of places. And again, we have lots of talks on this, but triggering to lots of places you're right here, right now, where you are unattached and amused. Mm-hmm. So see, this is why I like codes. These are codes. I say them all the time. If you just go to yourself when you just were saying about manifesting, if you're starting to do that, just go unattached and amused. Right, I'm unattached and amused. Boom. Boom. You just shifted it right then.
Right.
Boom, unattached amused. Right. Okay, so I'm just manifesting. I'm feeling into it. So
They're kind of healthy verbal habits to get into.
They are powerful prayers. Mm-hmm. Why do you think they call it spelling? You are creating spells with your language. The language is how you are half enslaved. Mm-hmm. Go get a contract. We'll go over it. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Words are powerful. The resonance, vibration, and what we say and how we say it. As we reference our great show, Words, Resonance, Power, and Tone. Eila and I had a lot of fun on that one.
Yeah. This morning I had an appointment for orthopedic, because I've had this shoulder thing going on for quite some months. And I had all the medical tests, and I was going to be going to this guy today. And on my drive there, I said, here's what I want to experience when I get there. This is the experience I want. And when I got there, as he read whatever he was reading about, it's exactly what I wanted. I wanted it to be something that I can move through, I can take care of. Surgery's not an option, not necessary, it's just me doing some things. I needed some confirmation from someone who could read the medical part of that for me. And in the process, I was also interacting with this lovely human who was sharing his own stories. And I feel sometimes they don't always get to do that. Like, they're always on, and they're the expert, and they're always telling people how to live their lives. And it was really pleasant to, first of all, have the experience I wanted, and also just listen to him share his story about his knees and his shoulders and his whatever. There was something about that was meaningful, and that's what I wanted to have when I went. I didn't want it to be, oh boy, I hope he doesn't tell me this. Oh boy, I hope this doesn't happen. Because a lot of us, and when we deal with medical stuff in the programming that we've had, that's what we think. Oh, I hope they don't find one of those lumps on my,
You're actually creating, so that's great what you just brought up. You're actually creating when you do that. So the universe doesn't actually hear the negating.
Yeah,
phrase.
like, I hope I don't.
Yeah, it
right,
just
forget
hears
it.
lumps. So
just say
here
what you
go.
want.
Here's some lumps. So instead, we cancel all that out. We want vibrant health flowing through each of our bodies. Let's all see our bodies right this second in vibrant health. Take a minute and breathe in some amazing light through your cells, and just think, everybody just say, I have vibrant health.
Yeah. Yeah.
That feel good.
Yeah. On all levels.
Because you're creating.
Yes.
That's how powerful we are. And I talk about this as a massage therapist since 1999, body worker, energy worker. I've heard a lot of stories about the body.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of people continually hold on to the story about the body. That's my
Yes.
bad hip. That's
Yes.
where I had the fall. That's from the car accident when I was 16. You know, all that. You're holding on. So I'm going to say to anybody right now, if you got a story out there, if you got a story of a chronic pain, I'm gonna challenge or offer or suggest
Encourage. Yeah.
you to let it go. To go, you know what? Maybe I don't have to hold on to that injury anymore. Maybe it could actually shift and start seeing, like, even what happened in the accident, change it. Start seeing it like, you know, I have everything I need. My neck was healed. It's like soften. I'm sorry to my neck. Apologize to your neck. Get in touch with what was maybe going on there. See it a little differently and start loving your neck. Now, every time you might feel it, instead of, it's that hip again, you're like, I'm loving this hip and it's feeling better each and every day. I'm giving it what it needs. I love my hip. I'm grateful for my hip. Start
Yeah, I've
getting
been
into
doing that. I've been like,
gratitude.
love you.
Yes, love my shoulder.
Love you.
Yeah, so get into loving you, because the real game, if you want to get simplistic, it's you got to love it all. Love it all.
Right. Even when it's not working perfectly.
You still, and then
You
you
love
love
it.
it, and it changes.
Yes.
It becomes perfect.
It comes.
I mean, you know what I mean?
It'll
Like, it's like
improve.
when you allow something to let it go, it becomes what you, it's like if you don't need it, then you can have it. Everything is that way. When you
Right.
love something, set it free, then it'll come back to you. Everything is about letting go and loving. You know, I mean,
And change. Like, one of the things I've been thinking about is this having this physical challenge the past months took me out of playing tennis, took me out of playing pickleball. And I'm like, well, maybe I needed to do that, and I wouldn't have done it without a little help from my body to say, hey, you need to not do that right now because you're busy doing some other things, and you wanna stay focused with that. Go
Time
for
for
your. You
everything.
can still take your walks. You can still do these other things. So rather than seeing it as a debilitating anything, it's like, okay, it's an opportunity for something. What's the opportunity? So anything that's going on in your body, in your life, what's the opportunity in that, right?
and knowing it will change, like you just
And
said.
it will
It will
change.
change. These are chapters. Remember, if you go big, when we're not getting small, and that little detail, it's like
Yeah,
you see the
getting
crumb
stuck
on
in
the
it.
counter,
Stuck.
then you're like, I hate this one little crumb. And you pick it up, and you're like, oh, I can't even see the crumb once I look at the whole room. And it's just literally.
Well, that
this-
crumb just, helped that little ant survive.
Yeah, food. So, it's all about perspective and that flexibility you had to go and unattached and amused,
Unattached
You
and amused.
exhibited,
Yes.
right? To go, that's going to change. And I guess I don't need that. I'm being flexible. I'm being
Yeah.
unattached and amused.
Yeah.
I'm allowing, right? And then you're getting into getting kind of excited and onto
Enjoy what else I
enjoy
can
what
do.
I'm in. I'm going to
Yeah.
show up.
Yeah.
And now be here present 100%.
Yeah.
Whether I'm now sweeping. Well, guess now I'm sweeping the floor. Like I told you earlier. Well,
Right.
now I'm opening up a Mexican place.
Right.
I wasn't trying to do that.
Right.
But I'm going
right.
to do it. And
right.
I did
It wasn't in, right. What I'm doing right now was never in my plan.
And then it ended.
There
It was a
is
chapter.
no plan.
Yeah, it's just a book. It's a long, cool book. So you have
Yeah.
all these chapters. So when you think of it this way, you're a really long being. You've been your soul. You have infinite memories, infinite stories, infinite books. So we're all just characters. We're like actresses and actors in the world stage, playing out these roles. And like we said before, like if you're a mom, great, be that. Oh, you're doing this. Yeah, I'm doing this thing right now.
Yeah.
We're doing that. I'm sweeping the floor right now, and I'm going to do it amazing.
Yeah.
Whatever I'm doing it 100% because it's just one role that I'm experiencing in the vast chapters of infinite stories that I have as a soul. So to get attached to anyone's story, well, it's kind of silly when we like. We
Well,
kinda
but
laugh at ourselves
sometimes
and go, "Oh, right."
it's good to look at the story and how you think it's been serving you.
Well,
Like,
absolutely. You have to
especially
understand the
when it
story.
comes, well, not especially, but including when it comes to illness or injury.
Right.
When
Well,
you were
it's kind of
talking
in a
about,
fun story for a minute, but
you
we're
were
going
talking
into
about
illness.
like old stuff. It reminded me when I was a teenager, I was told I had a heart murmur, and then I was told I had a hernia, and I was told those things never heal on their own. You're going to need surgery someday, and they
didn't buy it.
disappeared. They just disappeared. I didn't think about, I didn't dwell on it, and I didn't have any of these tools.
But you
I was
didn't
just doing my life,
manifest it.
but I didn't manifest it as it's never going away. It's just like I moved on to the next thing and the body heals. So I think it's really important that when anybody gets any kind of diagnosis or they think they have this condition, just question it. Question it and say, well, that might be what they're saying, but what do I feel in my body, and where do I want to go in my life with this?
Right, because it is all just a story, and our stories are just showing us what we need to learn about ourselves. And they're like, you and I, again, we talk about what the actual learning is. Like, we're learning about this thing, we're learning about this thing. Your stories looks totally different than mine, but we're both talking about the same thing. It just has a whole different video that goes with it, kind of thing.
Years ago, I used to read a lot of books on near-death experiences, and I'm like, I want to have a near-death experience. I want that profound experience. And then I thought, well, you don't really need one because you already buy into the whole
You already feel
death
it.
thing.
Yeah.
I'm already there. I don't need that. So that was for someone who was not anywhere close to believing in anything other than what they could see, hear, feel, sense, in this reality, in this 3D world. So, yeah. So we get what we need, not necessarily what we want.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I think we get for me, I always say, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. I have what I need when I need it.
Yeah.
So that goes back to surrender, being in the moment, being in the unknown, that I don't need to know that I'm going to have it. I just know I will.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to happen, but I trust that it will. Faith is a big word there too. Faith, surrender, trust. In being in the unknown, those are words that become real powerful and needed. And then our brain, which I wanted to give that kind of planted the seed back to the brain and the programming of the brain. When we are in emotional or programming that doesn't really serve us, our brain does start to get addicted to that kind of programming. It does, like, it's addiction, classic addiction does this up and down thing. So highs and lows, highs and lows. So actually being even, like, I got up, fed the chickens, I had breakfast, I swept the floor, we did some chores, I went to bed, whatever, just simple things.
Yeah.
And that being, like, fulfilling, right?
Yes.
Just that
simplicity.
Simplicity,
Yeah.
being fulfilling.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good thing for anyone to, turn off your device for the day, and wherever your world is, whatever whatever thing you is like overly stimulating, to just find just peace and serenity. You might ask yourself, do I find peace in just like a normal day? Like, is there any high, low going on that track it? Pay attention. Am I experiencing highs and lows like that? Am I up and down, dropping, which might look like just having a frustrated incident with your partner and then having a really great dinner and then frustration somewhere else and then maybe a thing with your kid or whatever, is that you track this feeling in yourself because you start to notice, ooh, I'm not even all the time. My brain is taking me all over the place based on past experiences. Back to that past experience. So the more I sit in an experience meditating, again, not just for like a car, how do I want to experience my day? I want to feel peaceful, at ease, and restful. I'm really peaceful. I'm so even. I'm very stable. I feel really stable. I'm just experiencing joy all through my day. I have great joy in just sweeping. Whatever it is you need to tell yourself in your meditative field, in your creative manifestation field, or just driving and you're telling yourself, you're speaking your mantras. The more you can ingrain what it is you are wanting, the more you ingrain it into your being, you are creating new pathways. Neurons that fire together, wire together. We want to fire together and become one. We want to have a whole viewpoint, a whole brain access to all things. So I'm seeing the whole picture.
I think one of the things you brought up was trust, and I find living in that world of trusting what's going to be and how the day's going to unfold. I put out what I want and then let it go. It's much more exciting than having everything planned out and, this is going to happen at 10. Like, honestly, today is a stressful day. It was a little stressful for me.
Time constraints.
Because I had I was in Waimea by 7:30, and then I came home and I had to nap because I was tired, and then I had the show, and then I had this show, and then I have another show. But once I'm in it, not thinking about it, it's fine. It's not stressful at all. I wasn't stressed when I was here at noon. It was actually quite pleasant. It was a little different today. Everything was like different than it is other days, and I liked it,
That's
and I
an
still like it.
example of being in the pocket, and what we're saying about being in the moment. When you are in the moment, just being in the field of like, I'm just here in the moment, everything's actually really easy.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't nearly as complex as I was thinking it was going to be yesterday.
Right.
Yeah.
So I dance and teach dance. So I like to use in music we use these examples when it's like salsa, okay, or something like that. When you're dancing, it can feel like the music's really fast. Like, ooh, it's fast. The step's fast.
Yes.
It's not fast if you're in the music.
Right.
If you're inside the music, there's this sweet spot.
Yes.
It's like, and I'll say this to surfers, it's like riding a wave, same thing. There's that place where it clicks in. You're like, ooh, I'm right in the music. Ooh, brrr, sabor, juicy, yummy.
Not thinking about
You're
it.
not, you're just in it. You feel it. It's right there. If you are in front of the music or behind the music, now you feel like I'm off. I'm behind. I'm going too fast. You can feel it, and it feels it feels
it's
like
a lot of work, right?
It feels grating.
Yeah.
But when you're in the pocket, in that sweet spot, it feels effortless at any speed.
Yes.
That's because you're in the field of the moment. This feeling we've been talking about this whole hour of this unknown field of potentiality where you're just present now, experiencing whatever is happening. You're in that sweet spot. That's really that's the goal. Like sit in the sweet spot all day, be in that juicy I am moment, and stalk anything that takes you out of it. Put in what you want and feel into what you're creating. I do have a great manifestation meditation on my YouTube.
Of course you do.
Yeah, it's great. So manifesting one, check it out. It's on my YouTube, Michál Anna, and and use it freely.
Yeah, you know the other thing that when you were talking about these different up highs and lows of the day, it reminded me of different friends I've had over my life and their family life, where in fact, my own family, my father's family, they'd rant. They just scream at one another like that was their normal way of communicating.
Yeah.
And it was very dramatic, and it was traumatic to a lot of people around them. They didn't think it was traumatic at all because that was their normal, but for other people it wasn't so normal. And I remember my stepmother having to have many conversations with my father about that doesn't work for me. That's not normal in my reality kind of thing. I doubt she used that language, but it made him aware of something he wasn't ever aware of because that was his norm.
Right, we don't know better. And so that's the other thing. There's no judgment on anyone about anything.
Yeah.
We don't know better. We've all been in density. We're all just children trying to find our way home, in essence. So judge not, leave that behind, release the victim, release the judgment. We are infinite co-creators trying to help one another. If we can get into a growth mindset in general with one another, we're here to lift each other up. Like let's try to do our best to help one another along the path. It's this long hike we're on, and the more we get a little help along the way, the better. I'd like to plant one more seed of info. Joe Dispenza, he's fabulous. He's done a lot of science research on the brain, on manifesting, on working with the brain. He has endless information online that you can find and like activating and manifesting and reforming the brain. And he has the research to back it up. If you think like, Michál, she's always talking about this stuff. I don't know what she's saying. Go to Joe Dispenza, and he will give you some hard-nosed stuff to back all this up.
Studies.
Yeah, studies. He's done a lot of studies and has
Yeah.
found profound change in very quick time with these kind of tools.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're coming near the end of our show today. We have 2 minutes left. I feel like we've barely breathed through the whole thing. Any comments or questions for you?
Armida?
You don't have to. You're not under any obligation. I just thought we had a couple minutes.
Well, it brought a lot of really cool things to mind, and just one of the things that came to mind was reminding myself, sort of an affirmation, how blessed I am and how much of a blessing I am, and to really continue to carve that rut, as you say, Michál, in my own mind, and have a new thought form, and to feed that. So I'm encouraged once again to continue with that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so
I love
thank
the
you.
the concept feeding it. What are we feeding?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
are we feeding?
Energy flows where attention goes. So wherever we're giving our attention and our energy, we're feeding it. And
Yeah.
so that's again why we want to use our daily tools. Everybody out there, use your daily energy management tools and own your sovereignty of this beautiful vessel that is yours. So you are deciding where energy is going at all times.
Thank you, Michál. It's been another wild ride with you. Thank you. This has been Intuitive Talk Story with Eila, Algood,
Michál, Anna.
and this will become a podcast, and we'll be back in a couple weeks.
Thank you so much, Eila. It's a pleasure as always.
Aloha.
Aloha.